Hey everyone, welcome to the first monthly wrap-up that we're going to run. So these are going to be wrap-ups we hold every month, at the end of every month, in which Lesedi and I discuss how we've been learning the languages that we are trying to pursue to fluency. It'll be a chance for you guys to learn about a few resources. If you know of any great resources that maybe we're ignoring, that we have no idea about, exactly, comment down below. And yeah, guys, also follow our Instagram. And our Instagram is growing slowly, and we put a lot of daily well, I wouldn't say daily, but close to daily content, right?
Yes, close to daily content.
Close to daily content there. And yeah, we'd love to see you there. It's a great place to get to know more about the Language Learners Club and what we do. So I think what I'll do is I'll pose you the first question, Lesedi.
Okay.
What languages have you been studying this month?
So this month, the focus has been Mandarin and Spanish.
Yeah.
Trying to get Spanish to a much higher level. Trying to target like B2 or just below B2. But yeah, and then Mandarin targeting probably between either HSK3 or HSK4 by the end of the year.
What is Mandarin in Spanish? How do you say Chinese, Mandarin Chinese in Spanish? Any idea?
Oh, I know how to say it in French, not in Spanish.
Okay, go ahead.
In French is Chinois.
Chinois, Chino in Spanish, but I assume if we want to be a bit more specific, I don't know how you'd say Mandarin. I'd assume Chino Mandarino. Let me know below, Spanish speakers, por favor. Cool. So you've got Spanish and Mandarin on your plate, and me, I've been working on... So actually, I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily learning a language from scratch at this point. I'm more kind of working on the languages that I already speak, so working on improving my French, maintaining and improving my Italian, maintaining my Spanish, and of course, as you guys would know if you watch the channel regularly, I'm working a lot on my Portuguese. Quero falar português melhor, porque é uma língua bela. Eu gosto muito do português, mas pode ser pouco difícil, especially the pronunciation, as many of you have pointed out there. So that's kind of what I've been working on as well. So it's kind of, I'm not working on a trifecta, maybe a quadrifecta. I don't even know if that's a word.
Yes, and just for those who don't know, yes, you do have to maintain your languages, or else they kind of like deteriorate slowly. So yeah.
And it can be bad that way.
Yeah.
So we're going to continue on to the next part after this very brief break. Oh, hello there. I didn't notice you, but I do have a question. Are you attractive and intelligent? You likely are because you're watching a video from the Language Learners Club. You might also be interested in Hispanic literature because you're watching a video from the Language Learners Club. Well, the language learners are covering all great works in the history of Hispanic literature from the Middle Ages through the Siglo de Oro all the way until 20th century magical realism. Right now, we're working through Miguel de Cervantes' Don Quixote de la Mancha, chapter by chapter. If you're a language teacher or a student who loves languages, I'd love to have you join our club and participate in this project. Yeah, we are back now, and we weren't trying to be obnoxious there with the ad break. It's just literally that the camera on my laptop sometimes fails after about 2 minutes, so I'll be very honest and open with you guys. You know, I like to think that that's my strength. That's why we took the break, and also Lesedi needed you needed your gorra to keep yourself safe there. I have the benefit of a bit more shade. But yeah, moving on from where we were. So you've got these two languages you're working on. You're documenting how you're learning Chinese, right?
Yes, I am. I'm actually it's like a weekly series. The full videos we uploaded on our YouTube Shorts, our TikTok, and on our Instagram. So some of you may have seen that we're on, I think, week 7 now. Yeah, we're on week 7, and it's been a fun journey so far.
Yeah,
it's been a fun journey so far.
Indeed, and it's been fun watching you go on it. So what have you been using for Mandarin?
So for Mandarin, it's mainly been one video so far since I've been focusing on pronunciation. So it's been this video called, okay, I can't remember the exact name, but it's by a YouTube channel called The Mandarin Blueprint, and it's Mandarin pronunciation, everything you need to know in under 1 hour, something like that. So I've been using that, and then I've also been using Duolingo, but not like the normal app. I've been using the Pinyin part specifically, because what it allowed me to do is it's allowing me to practice hearing a lot of the stuff that's kind of being taught in the in that Mandarin pronunciation video. So it's like getting my ears to get like practice listening to the different tones, and getting practice listening to the problem initials and the tougher initials, which is basically consonants in Mandarin that do not exist in English. So it's kind of like allowed me to get practice listening to that. So those two mainly. But now that I've finished that video, I'm gonna be moving to some other content focused on HSK 1 and 2, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Cool. So you'd say that right now it's kind of you're in the process of just establishing a structure for how you study. You're maybe even in a pre-comprehensible input state right now.
Basically,
more
yeah.
kind of developing the habits and kind of really laying the groundwork. I think really figuring out like the roadmap that you need to follow to study this language.
True.
Cool. And you haven't asked me any questions. I feel very neglected.
Yes, so I was actually going to ask you a question.
Okay, yeah, oh, right, yeah,
so
likely.
What resources are you mainly using for Portuguese, as that's the one that you're focusing on improving?
Yes, so actually, I wish I had the book with me right now. I'm a big history reader. In fact, I mostly learn languages by reading the history.
Ah, interesting.
So I like to, in fact, we're at our university here, and I like to go right there. Behind us is the university's main library, and it has books in foreign languages. So what I do is I'll go and I'll loan a book, I'll borrow a book from the library in a language that I'm trying to maintain or learn, and I'll gradually work through that book. And that's how I get my reading comprehensible input in. That's something I recommend you guys do as well. If you're looking for content, there are two awesome resources I can recommend. Look at a local library. You may be blessed with a local library with books in foreign languages. That's a huge aid. And then also Internet Archive. That's a great place to find books in foreign languages. So those two I'd recommend. Wikipedia as well can be a great resource. And so that's what I've been doing in terms of reading. So I've been reading historian Joaquim Veríssimo Serrao's História de Portugal.
Oh, okay.
That kind of starts in the 1000s with the beginning of the Portuguese nation as we know it today, or kingdom. And so that's what I've been doing for my reading. And then in terms of listening, there's a great channel, Learn Portuguese with Leo, which we will put in the description. That's excellent if you're trying to learn European Portuguese. And then there's a fantastic channel that's a little bit more linguistics focused. It's called Alomorfe. It's a Brazilian Portuguese channel.
Oh, nice.
But he does, like a bit like what Linguriosa does for Spanish, he does for Portuguese. And it's nice because you also get to hear a lot about, the particular factors about of Brazilian Portuguese that make it really interesting, right? So all the African influence, the indigenous language influence. So that's what I've been doing for my Portuguese, and I think I might, to make this a bit more explicit, I might specify that I'll spend about 15 minutes in the evening, maybe to 30 minutes just listening to Portuguese, and then during the day, around a coffee break at, let's say, 2 o'clock in the afternoon or so, I like to read about 45 minutes of the book. So right now, and maybe I'd recommend for those of you who are maybe in the beginner stages, intermediate stages of your language, maybe try aim for that, like 15 minutes to 30 minutes of listening in the evening and a bit of reading during the day, like up to an hour of reading during the day. I think that's enough input. And then also trying to put everything in Portuguese that I can, putting my phone in Portuguese.
Yes.
If I'm reading something or watching something that has subtitles or has a translation in Portuguese.
The subtitles in Portuguese.
Rather
especially with Netflix. Before they didn't do it, like you had to use like a VPN to change your country's location. But now Netflix has allowed you access to all their dubs and their subs. But before, it used to be only Hindi for some weird reason. It used to be only Hindi. Even though in South Africa, we don't really have many people who speak Hindi, even though technically we have the most Indians outside of India.
Or some of
the most Indians outside of India. And and Disney Plus does the same too. I'm just trying to think who else. I can't remember who else, but most of like the main streaming platforms, they have dubs and subs for all the different languages, for most of the different languages, let me say rather.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, since you're learning Portuguese, have you considered watching some of Neymar's Twitch streams?
Neymar's Twitch streams. This whole thing of footballers becoming YouTubers, I don't really know what to think about it. Hey? The thing about it is that they've earned so much fame and honor on the field it feels kind of cheap for them to become YouTubers afterwards.
Interesting,
I
yeah.
think in a way, and I know that we're digging a grave for ourselves here, but being a YouTuber is a little bit cringy.
A bit, yeah. It
It's a
kinda
bit of,
is, to
it's
be
kind of
fair.
a slightly cringe profession. I mean, we're sitting here and there are people walking by us. They're thinking, what the hell are these two guys doing? Look, we enjoy talking with you guys online a lot. I mean, I really like the community that's built around this, but kind of this whole being so obsessed with being online the whole time. It's not the nicest thing. I think it's also not the best thing for our psyches. But so maybe that's a long answer to why I actually haven't tried
Seen
listening to
Neymar's
Neymar's.
Twitch
I haven't
streams.
seen Neymar's Twitch streams. Ronaldo's also got a channel now. Hey,
Yeah, oh my gosh. The unfortunate thing is Ronaldo's channel is unbelievably cringy. Like,
Oh, really?
like the unfortunate thing is that like he doesn't really run it per se.
Yeah.
He probably just comes in for 1 hour, then they say, hey, you've got this interview, you're gonna do this interview with Rio Ferdinand, or you've got this or whatever. But like the people who manage his channel, they make it so cringy. And what I hate about the channel the most is the comment sections. Because like it's as if there's no actual normal human beings in those comment sections. The comments make the whole channel so cringe. It's just like a bunch of like brain rot comments. It's like everyone is there just saying, oh my gosh, Ronaldo, hi, please give me a like, or some stupid stuff. Like, just go to his comment section and you'll understand what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't feel like real people are watching the videos sometimes, you know?
yeah, yeah. So let's quickly just discuss what you're doing for Spanish.
Okay, so for Spanish, I've been mainly watching series in Spanish. So there's 2 series that I've been watching that I've been really enjoying. The first one is Atrapados, which is actually it's a story about like in Argentina. So they speak Spanish, Rio Platense Spanish, which is the Spanish that Messi speaks. It's kind of like there's a bunch of girls who keep getting kidnapped and stuff, and some guys using this other like version of TikTok or something that all the kids are on, and then he's lying to the kids and getting them to meet and then doing his bad stuff.
Okay.
But there's a lady who's trying to discover her the the criminal. That's the one. And then the other one that I was watching actually came out recently. It's called El Jardinero, something like that, like the gardener.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. It's like about a gardener who kills people and then hides them in his garden as fertilizer. It's a very interesting one.
Yeah,
Very,
no, that's
very
pretty
interesting one.
intense. Yeah, hardcore
So-
horror there. Nice. Okay. Películas de terror, series de terror que te gustan. Oh, claro, sí. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. And you can find these on Netflix, right?
Yes,
Cool.
Netflix. I think they're produced by Netflix. Oh yes, also I'm rewatching the MCU in order, like in order of like the actual timeline, not in terms of the release dates. And I'm watching it like in Spanish dub. And I think I'm on I'm on Thor now. So I've watched Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, Incredible Hulk, Captain America. Now I'm on Thor, and then next is going to be The Avengers. So it's kind of fun rewatching these movies in Spanish. And yeah, that's one of the things I'm doing.
Nice.
Um,
Fun fact about me, I think I've watched 2 Marvel movies in my life. I've just never really got into them too much. I liked the Avengers. I liked Avengers Endgame and
Yeah.
Avengers. What was the one before Endgame?
Infinity War.
Infinity War. I thought those were
Yeah.
pretty cool. I must say I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But I kind of had to pick up a lot of what was going on from people who were talking about it online. Anyway, that's a side point. And so that's what you're watching.
That's
and
what I'm watching,
listening
yeah.
to. Reading wise, got anything to
reading
recommend?
wise, what would I say reading wise? I'd say I haven't officially started reading. I'm just trying to remember if I got any Spanish books. I can't remember if I bought them yet. I know I have the French ones, I have Italian ones. I'm just not sure if I have Spanish ones. I don't think I've bought them yet. Because normally, as much as Gregory reads from the libraries and he gets like these big books and stuff, I like getting books from an author called Olly Richards.
Yep.
And he makes like a lot of good books for a lot of languages, for the European languages, of course. And then I think he also has some Korean books and stuff, and German as well and stuff. But ultimately, he makes books called, like, there's short stories in Spanish, short stories in Italian, 101 conversations in French and stuff like that. So normally when I buy books, I start there. And then once I'm done with those books, then I'll graduate to a bit more difficult books. But for the time being, I wouldn't say I've started reading. I actually should start next month, actually.
Yeah.
I should start next month.
Story learning. The story learning project, storylearning.com by Olly Richards. Brilliant way to get started with reading, guys. I'm glad Lesedi brought it up because that really is, I'd probably say it's the best way to start reading any of these foreign languages, because it's a guided reader and it really takes you through the steps. It's the sort of thing you could start off from scratch, right?
Literally, yeah. Like the books start from, I think the minimum level you need is, I think, A1 or A2. And getting to A1 is not too difficult. That could take you like a month or two maybe, because that's just basic, lots of like the basics, and you can start reading those books, yeah.
And we've got translators these days, So what I'll do is I just want to quickly run through a tip. I'm going to jump over some of what I've been doing very quickly in terms of reading and listening for the other languages I'm working on. Italian, I'm reading Alessandro Manzoni's I Promessi Sposi. Famous novel, one of the best novels I think it's the best novel in the Italian language. Beautiful story, absolutely love it. And it's a relatively complex Italian, so it's really testing me. Listening, I love listening to Learn Italian with Lucrezia. Her channel is awesome. I don't know if you've followed it at all.
Oh, I haven't yet. I haven't seen it.
Definitely should try. And the Storia d'Italia podcast, also relatively advanced Italian, but if you're at that level, give it a listen, because it's a very in-depth, very detailed history of Italy.
Yes, and by the way, Gregory's Italian is amazing, by the way. It's
Grazie.
like, it is on that level.
Me la cavo, non voglio esagerare, ma sì. And then for the Spanish, maintaining the Spanish is, I'm reading a history book by the historian Luis Suarez, not the footballer, the historian. We had this discussion before.
Yes.
It's an interesting sort of history essay. A bit of an overview of some important moments in Spanish history. So that I'm working on. And then in terms of listening to Spanish, I love listening to Linguriosa's channel. Linguriosa, and then another YouTuber, Paco, Álvarez, Philologus. And he's a philologist. He just does sort of Spanish historical linguistics, and it's awesome. And then for French, that's also an important one. I'm reading right now Lucien Febvre's L'apparition du livre. So it's this fascinating, French is fairly complex, but it's this fascinating sort of history about how we developed the modern book, how the books, about early printing presses, and how early printing presses got started, how they started in China, why there was such a gap between them starting in China and then starting in Europe. Really interesting stuff there. And then for listening in French, I like to work between YourBestFrench. So that's a French channel by a Lebanese French speaker. I can't remember her name, so guys, correct me for being so rude. And so there's that channel that I like, and of course French Mornings with Elisa. That's a great channel.
French Mornings with Elisa is one of my favorite channels. Like, she makes the most perfect comprehensible input for beginners, or let me say, like, beginners to intermediate. Beginners, you'll most likely need to read the subtitles as you listen, but then for intermediate people, you'll be able to basically listen even without looking at the screen. You'll be able to understand most of what she says, because she speaks at like a nice pace. She doesn't speak too fast. Also, she doesn't speak too slow. And yeah, it's an amazing channel.
Yeah.
It's an amazing channel. Actually,
seconded, yeah.
Funny,
Je suis d'accord, oui.
Funny enough, that was one of the channels I was listening to before I became fluent in French, or let me say a comfortable B1. I'll rank myself a comfortable B1. I would listen to a channel every morning before going to work or going to school, and I would still need to look at the subtitles until one day I was just so busy, like I was just brushing my teeth. I wasn't looking at the subtitles, and I realized that I understood everything without needing to look at the subtitles. That's when I realized, oh snap! Like, it was the aha moment where I was like, oh snap! I think I can hear Spanish. I'm in French now. Which is cool.
Amazing. Like, that snap moment is amazing. And we've got to elaborate on this a little bit more in future. We want to help those of you who are just starting out. Because today was a good resource recommendation. Keep your eye out for the June wrap-up, because we're going to dedicate a little bit more time then to helping those of you who just don't know where to start, or maybe those of you who are stuck. So maybe what you can do is let us know where you are in your language learning process down below. Let us know what your frustrations are. That's actually really what we want to hear, because we've gone through this process a few times, and we do think that we have some advice that we can provide. So let us know what you think below, where you feel you are, what's frustrating you about your language learning journey, and we'll dedicate a lot of the next wrap up to that. But for now, that's going to be an au revoir from me, and then
au revoir
from him. Okay, I thought he was going to say adios or whatever. What is it in Mandarin?
Oh, in Mandarin, I don't know yet, unfortunately.
Okay. Anyway, well, we remain blissfully, not blissfully ignorant for the moment. So we'll see you guys next time, and take care.
Take care.